Thank you very much to everybody for being here today. It's my pleasure to present this webinar. The Keys to Achievement program was developed by BPW Australia and adopted by BPW New Zealand. According to the BPW Australia website, it is designed to develop BPW leaders through a structured series of tasks. With thanks, BPW Australia President Jacqueline Graham and BPW New Zealand President Christine Berridge for their help in organizing today's webinar. Our speakers are Astrid, Kuenne, BPW Australia, and Carmen Nelson, BPW New Zealand. Astrid is currently on the board of BPW Australia as Director of Marketing, was previously the state representative for Queensland and is a past president of BPW North Lakes. She has achieved her gold level in Keys to Achievement and is a champion of the program as a route for personal development. Carmen is the current secretary for BPW New Zealand. She is a strata company manager now working in Australia and daughter of BPW New Zealand President Christine Berridge. Astrid, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. I'll just share my screen before we get started. Thank you, Yasmin. It's an honour to be here and represent BPW Australia. And yeah, so I hope you all have a great session today. So yeah, I'm just talking about Keys to Achievement today, and obviously we know Dr. Lena Madison Phillips was the founder of BPW, and we're very grateful for her. She's done an amazing thing. We all aspire to what she does. So yeah, as Yasmin was saying, in 1999, BPW Australia, some of the Western Australian girls created this program to help members, you know, build their skills for the future. And in 2006, young BPW Alicia Curtis revised it to revise the content so it could be implemented nationally, because it was designed specifically for Western Australia area, and then we needed it for all of Australia. So in 2006, it was adapted to a national program. And as it is, these programs are adaptable to change. And in 2008, New Zealand decided to adapt it to their area as well. And this is the good thing about this program. You can actually adapt it for anything.
I will just, you don't have.
Sorry. So in 2018, we've had a few other variants, and the whole thing about the program is to continually build and grow and develop it for the future. And this is called the Keys to Achievement. So as you know, it's a personal and professional development program, and it challenges us to develop and with key business skills and helps with your career. And it just helps you get to know all about BPW. It is really fascinating and how we can benefit that. So in Australia, I've got an old Keys to Achievement. So we've created new certificates over time. So we have it when people achieve their different levels in the program. We have bronze, silver and gold. We present our members with the certificates in our local club, and the gold one gets presented obviously locally, but also when we go to our national conferences. And it's a great achievement to actually go and receive something in front of everyone. And the 3 levels, it's just an opportunity to engage locally, nationally and internationally, and get to know what's happening all around the country. And you can do these tasks at conglomerate. You don't have to do the tasks. You don't have to do bronze and then you start silver. You can do bronze and then work on silver tasks and work on gold tasks. So you can actually do tasks concurrently, is the correct word. So that's really cool. And we want to actually help and support each other to do this. So we'd like to deliver the key business skills. And I worked previously in the state government for 21 years, and you don't have a program like this for the state government, so, or in workplace. So it's great to be able to grow and build your own confidence in a very adaptable program. And the multi and intergenerational learnings which are shared across and recognised at conference, it's great to actually get to know and be there to support everybody. Some of the bronze skills, just conducting an audit, researching BPW. It's amazing what you find out about BPW and how BPW started, and it's getting involved in activities and being treasurer for a month. So there's some things at the bronze level are simple tasks that are not too, and it's adaptable to whatever you need to do for your own country. A couple of the silver tasks: secretary, enlighten your community about BPW, meet BPW members at conference. We love going to conference. I think since I started in 2005, I've been going to BPW national conferences. It is an amazing experience. And some of the gold achievements, North Lakes hosted the BPW National Conference in 2018, which was a great achievement for all our members, and they ticked off a lot of their gold keys to achievement. So that was great, and we're always influencing policy by what we hear in our regular magazine. One of the tasks for our members, which is actually online tonight, thank you, Terry, is writing an article. We have a quarterly magazine, and Terry wrote an article for our Madison magazine, which was a silver keys to achievement task, and how to apply for a grant and support a club project. And our club was successful in receiving that grant. So we've had a lot of members help support and get to where we want to be. And like North Lakes is a fairly newish club, six years, I think now, 6 or 7 years. And, you know, it's a great what we've achieved so far. And that's about all the personal and professional development between all our mentors and our clubs. Now, I mentioned our magazine. This is the magazine that we produce stories in. And I just wanted to say that this is what we did this one's launched today. So this is a magazine where we can show our stories and what we're doing in projects and our advocacy and everything we do in BPW Australia. We share that in a regular quarterly magazine. Myself, I joined BPW in 2005, I think my bronze was achieved in 2009, but I definitely know my silver was achieved in February 2012, and my gold in February 2016 when our BPW North Lakes chartered. So it's a great achievement. And when I started in 2005, I was a quiet little mouse. I didn't know anybody, and it was just quiet, and I was not a very social person back then. And I've seen how this program can actually work to develop you personally and professionally. And I've seen myself grow, and I've seen other members that have come up in the club grow, which is really amazing to see. Keys to achievement is obviously a personal growth for members, and the mentors in BPWA. I've got fantastic mentors on the board, and it's just a circle of growth in what we do and mentor and talk to everybody. It's just simply amazing, and we're all learning and developing together, and we want to link members across the country. What's the next? Yes, I'm not going. So our program is adaptable and flexible for all countries, and our content can be targeted to club or federation needs. It's about, our program is about starting with something and going how you can adapt it to your own country and how it can be linked to your own tasks that you do in your own country. And we're forever changing it. You know, there's things we need to change all so often, and we're flexible and adaptable to change. And that's how we would use this for other countries to adapt it for their own culture and their own countries. So thank you for that. But if anyone wants to know any more information or any assistance, you know, you're welcome to contact us, myself at marketing, or our president, Jacqueline Graham at president, or go and visit our bpw.com.au website. And thank you from BPW Australia.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, Carmen, are you ready? The floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay. As Astrid said, in 2008, the Keys to Achievement program was initiated and proven in Australia and was made available and adapted for use in New Zealand by BPW New Zealand. Since 2008, the program has been an invaluable resource for clubs and members. It has provided a great mentoring tool for our clubs, which encourages our members, raises self-confidence, helps in developing members' personal and professional skills, and increases their awareness and knowledge of BPW as a local, national, and international organisation. In 2018, the idea to redevelop the Keys to Achievement, or what we call the KTA program, was born by our by then VP President, Vice President Membership Sally Smith, who intended to incorporate a matrix of ideas she termed My BPW and Grow Me. My BPW was to focus on BPW tasks, whilst Grow Me was to focus purely on the personal and professional development of members in line with qualifications available in New Zealand. And as you can see, Sally noted that there would be many shared or overlapping tasks. Unfortunately, Sally is no longer a member of BPW New Zealand. However, I was lucky enough to work with Sally and be mentored by her as a new member in her early days of her project to redevelop the KTA program. I've since worked with a team of BPW New Zealand members to finish what Sally started. After 3 years of hard work, BPW New Zealand, My BPW Keys to Achievement, has been redeveloped and adapted to meet the needs of our members in 2021 and beyond. Not only has the wording in many terms been updated, but it has evolved into a personal and professional development program designed by and for members of BPW New Zealand. It is designed to challenge members to work through a series of structured tasks to develop key BPW Federation skills and knowledge, whilst increasing their career and business skills. Each member completing the program is allocated an assessor within their club, or our individual members are allocated a member of the executive committee who is to mentor the member through the program and sign off when the activities have been completed. We have retained the general structure of the initial KTA or Case to Achievement program, including the 3 levels of achievement being bronze, silver, and gold. What we have introduced is 5 categories within each level of achievement to give the program a bit more structure. We have taken these categories from what BPW New Zealand considers the foundation pillars of what we do as an organisation. These categories are Federation, Promotion and Understanding, Advocacy, Leadership, Networking, and Business. Each activity in a category, where appropriate, builds upon itself to strengthen and develop a member's understanding of the category as the member moves from bronze to silver and on to completing a gold. For example, bronze may start a task at a local level. Silver will build upon this to achieve the task at the national level, and further through to international in the gold task or activity. In each level, there are 12 activities that members can choose from to complete. We do ask that to earn their key for each level, they complete 9 out of 12 activities. This allows members to focus on an area they may be passionate about, such as leadership, while still being able to branch out into areas they are less familiar with to help strengthen their confidence in trying new things and learning new skills. As an example of the content within our redeveloped program, in bronze level, a member may choose an activity under Federation, Promotion, Understanding, which asks the member to research and discover the aims, missions, and goals of BPW, to delve into the history of BPW and gain an understanding of what BPW has achieved to date within New Zealand and internationally. They are asked to research other organisations and international treaties that BPW New Zealand members may refer to. Each activity provides members with guidance notes to support them and provide some direction. The assessor is available to encourage and support and mentor the members to successfully complete the activities. Members are asked to choose a way to share their knowledge and show their understanding. They can do this in a variety of ways, including a written report, an oral presentation, or to provide a newsletter bulletin in our national newsletter. A one-page summary of how the member displayed their understanding and completed the activity is provided by the member and signed off by their assessor. Once the member moves on to the silver level, they are asked to build upon their knowledge they have learnt and information they have researched in the bronze level by carrying out a similar task, with the focus moving to BPW International. and using as many resources as they can, expanding their knowledge of BPW by discovering the aims, missions, and goals of BPW International. Again, they provided with guidance notes and asked to choose a way of sharing in their knowledge and understanding. And further at gold level, the task asks the member to research international treaties that BPW are involved with, so that they have an understanding of all the acronyms that are used in a forum such as conference and congress, or even provided in written reports. This is to ensure that they have an understanding of what more experienced members are referring to, and ensures that they are still part of the conversation. At this stage, the BPW New Zealand My BPW Keys to Achievement program will be available in a printed hard copy, with further research being carried out to be able to provide the document online for ease of access to our members and in line with BPW New Zealand policy around sustainability. We have had very positive feedback from those that have been involved in the redevelopment, who are now looking forward to completing the newly developed program. The redevelopment has been a long 3 years of hard work for BPW New Zealand. However, I believe the basic foundations of the program are in place for other countries to discuss with their membership and adapt the program to suit their individual country and member needs. As Astrid and BPW Australia have mentioned, if you would like any further information in regard to the basic structure of the program and potential ways to adapt the program for your country, please feel free to contact the BPW New Zealand Executive Committee. Thank you.
Okay, thanks to both of our speakers very, very much. And it's pretty late in Australia at the moment, even later in New Zealand. So we really appreciate all of you being with us here tonight, in your case today, and this morning for everyone else. We're going to now move into a discussion, and I imagine you have a lot of questions or comments already, because this is a very detailed program, and the two versions are actually a bit different from one another. So first of all, I don't want to put you on the spot, Yasmin, but do you have any questions or comments to make as a co-facilitator of our program?
I have some questions, but I will let some of the members to start.
Okay.
If there is any other member that have a question?
Well, we'll come back to you, Yasmin. Secondly, before we open the floor, I'd like to ask either Jacqueline of BPW Australia, the president, or Christine of BPW New Zealand, their president, or both of you, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to contribute. So Jacqueline, first of all, to you.
Thank you, Anne, and thank you to both Astrid and Carmen for providing this presentation. And also I'd like to acknowledge online Susan Jones, the immediate past International Vice President for Membership, and also thank you, Yasmin, for co-hosting as our International Past President. I know Susan has taken some time in the past to share the program with other countries. We were very happy from Australia's perspective that New Zealand has picked it up, and it's always good to see a program that you've started come through and be useful somewhere else. So one of the things that I would say is that these programs, the structures are both very similar. We have 12 tasks, but asks for 10 to be completed in each section. New Zealand asks for 9, that suits them better. Their assessment structure is slightly different in New Zealand as well. But the basics of that structure of moving stepwise through challenges and investigating BPW and how it can grow is useful for everyone. So I'd recommend it to other countries to consider it. And I believe that we're also taking the program to the new standing committee on training and development for consideration as a program that BPW International could look at. And I'd noticed that Francesca is on the call tonight, so that may be something that we could make as part of the discussion. But thank you for the opportunity to share it more broadly.
Okay, thanks, Jacqueline. And I will ask for Christine to jump in next, but Susan, you were next on my list. So Christine, would you like to say a few words? President of BPW New Zealand.
Thank you, and thank you for having us here tonight or this morning to discuss what is a really valuable program. I'm much like Astrid, joined in 2004, and I have my gold key. One of the things that we do find is it really, really encourages members to get involved, and that's how you actually grow the networks of people and women that you have in your organisation through your country. And as Carmen has mentioned, it has taken quite some time to get the redevelopment completed, but there's nothing wrong with that, because obviously it's a moving document and we always need to make sure that it's up to date and what our members need. So thank you again for being here, and thank you to our two presenters.
Yes, Susan, would you like to jump in now?
Oh, yeah, I'd be happy to, Anne. I'm delighted that you've taken the opportunity to help promote the Keys to Achievement. Look, I came in a little late, but I do hope that we did acknowledge Alicia Curtis at the beginning of this, because Alicia was a young BPW in Australia who actually is the author of the Keys to Achievement. She did it when she was the young BPW on the national board, and all praise to her that it has lasted as long as it has, 13 years. And over the last 13 years, I've seen many times that it's been resurrected. I certainly, from my point of view, having been a gold achiever myself and know how much I learned from the program, that it certainly challenged me outside of my comfort zone. My question, I suppose, is to Christine and to Jacqueline, and that is that if it would be my dream, of course, that we would take this to international, and I did try when I was vice president. It is very difficult to make it a generic program, because Australia and New Zealand, although the structure is similar, the content is different. Because you have different structures in each country or federation or affiliate club. But my question is, if we were to take it internationally, I'm assuming that what you would expect is that the federations or the affiliate clubs would come through you, Jacqueline, and Christine, first of all, as really the new authors, if you like, of this program.
Thank you, Susan. Sorry if I can jump it. Yes, I think that would be the right way to take that. It is difficult to build content that is appropriate internationally, the language that's used across countries. Even in countries like Australia and New Zealand, which are very similar in a number of ways, there are political and structural and cultural differences that we need to deal with separately in the tasks and challenges. But and I see that Francesca Burrick has her hand up as well. If you start with the structure and consider it as a learning process, then it's an opportunity to look at what the core modules you might need are. And you've now got 2 countries that you can use as source material for that. So yeah, as we've said, if you come back to Australia and New Zealand, we can work together to help you implement that. So Christine, may say something else.
No, I agree that would be, how things would work. As Jacqueline said, there is some key structures there, and each country would then grow from that, I would pick.
Okay, thanks to all of you. All right, now we are going to have everyone else who wants to speak jump in. I see 1 or 2 who don't have names on their screen, but a number or something else. So if you actually want to speak, you're going to have to change that and put your name on there. We will ask you to use the raise hand function. Francesca, you're the first one up, so I am going to call on you next, but maybe you could begin by telling people how to use that. As the host of the Zoom room, I don't actually have that function. So if you could mention to people how to find that in case they don't have it. And then I'll just call on each of you in order of raising your hand. Francesca?
So for those of you that don't know where the function is, if you look at the bottom of your screen to reactions and you click on reactions, the last thing at the bottom says raise your hand. And after you are recognized, you could also lower your hand. So thank you for this opportunity. And thank you so much, Australia and New Zealand, for sharing this. This is what I ran on in my statement for the Standing Committee, is that we really need a central resource where we can find out who's doing what. There's so much great talent out here in this organization, and we don't know who's doing what. You know, the communication is lacking on this particular area. So one of the very first things, and thank goodness Angela from Australia has applied to being on my standing committee, training, development, and employment. And if you are interested in that and you did not apply, please contact me. One of the first things we're going to be doing is reaching out to as many of the federations and the regions that we can and ask, you know, we're going to have a form and we're going to ask, what do you have available that you're willing to share? What's the name, the length? Who's the person to contact? There will be, and thank you, Jacqueline, I totally agree with you that there needs to be the host country or the authors of the programs need to be the ones that get contacted, not us in the standing committee, because we really don't know how this got created. And quite frankly, we don't have the woman power to do all of that. So that's going to be one of our first tasks. And what I understand from the newsletter that just went out, that hopefully we're going to get started soon. And I have 16 people on this committee representing 4 of the 5 regions. I think they're all 5 regions, but we're really lacking people in Africa and in Latin America. There's only 1 in each from those 2 regions. So, you know, there'll be a lot of work there. And if people are willing from those regions or any regions, you know, I think that the more that get involved with this, the better. And so that's going to be our very first function. And all the standing committees have a page on the international website, and that's going to be the first thing that goes up there immediately, as soon as we can. So I'm hoping that we're going to get that up within the first 30 days that we, I'd like to get it up within the first 2 weeks, but you know, that's going to be impossible. But I'd like to get that up the first 30 days so that we have something up there that everyone can go to and know who to contact and get help and support from. And that's it. And if you have any ideas about what this standing committee should be doing or what we should be looking at, we are open to all kinds of ideas. And the more that people get involved and speak up and willing to work and help us, you know, the more we can help each other. And that's really what we're here for. So let's continue to share. And thank you, Anne and Yasmin, for all of your work, but particularly this one, because it just shows how much we can all benefit from each other.
Thanks so much, Francesca. Now we have me. It's also very late for you, Vicky, but you're a late night owl, I know, so you're good. Vicky?
I am too, and hello, everyone. It's just, it's half an hour after midnight here in New Zealand. I'm a past president of BPW New Zealand, and one of the things I was reflecting on is that when the Keys to Achievement in its early days, when it was fresh and new, this is the old version, we had a lot of companies who were interested in actually sponsoring membership with BPW because of the skills through this program. And I do think that what New Zealand's doing now with the refreshment, that it will be once again very
Okay, thanks, Vicky. Okay, we have lots of Anns in the room, including myself, but Ann Troyanis, I think, am I correct that you have implemented the version of this program in your area? I think you may have mentioned that before.
Yes, Anne, that's true. I think it must have been around 2010 when a member of our BPW Kiel in Germany was traveling through Australia and New Zealand. I can't think of her name at the moment. Elizabeth, if you could remember. And she brought it back, and we translated and localized it and implemented it in our club in Kiel. And I used it personally I was president of BPW Kiel for 4 years, and I used it personally for my work as president. And similar to Susan Jones' story, I just grew with it. It's an absolutely wonderful program, and also a lot of the work in the club gets shared among a large number of shoulders, and not just on one particular or a few particular people. And then what we did was we started telling the other clubs in Germany about it, and quite a number of clubs in Germany followed through then with that and initiated the program.
Okay, thanks, Anne. Elizabeth Wolford, did you want to add anything? I see you've put the name of the person in the chat. Did you have any comment?
It's a very good program. I achieved bronze level, and that was a very good experience.
Okay, thank you. So I'll ask both of you ladies to mute now. And do we have someone else who would like to speak, or if you have questions about the program? Yasmin, circle back to you, perhaps. Are you ready?
Yes, I would like, maybe I missed that part, but I would like to know if in the program you included the values, ethics in BPW, or just the structure, or I don't know if there is a point about it.
Okay, Susan, is that a raised hand or?
Yeah, I was going to say that the program is not only about challenging us as individuals, but it's also about gaining more knowledge about BPW International. I mean, one of the questions, if I recall it correctly, is that you're asked to study part of the Constitution and come back and discuss that at club level. Another one is to research the BPW International website and come back and talk about that at club level, or even at a conference or summit level. So Yasmin, to answer your question, is that yes, it's all about improving and growing, but also about educating yourself on BPW International, about our history. One of the questions is about, who was the first president in Australia, how many presidents were international presidents? You know, those kinds of questions. So it becomes not just generic, but focused on your federation.
I think though, Yasmin, your question was about ethics, right? Okay, so Susan, did you want to add anything more about that? Does it specifically address ethics? Otherwise, I can another one of the contributors.
Yeah, I think that comes up in the discussion too. But as I said, I mean, certainly ethics is very important, and it's a wonderful suggestion that we actually put that in as part of the structure. I don't think it's in there specifically.
Thank you. Yasmin, did you want to say anything more before I go on?
Well, I take the opportunity to thanks BPW Australia and New Zealand presenters and the presidents for sharing this very important information. And I really hope, as Susan said, she tried to promote it. But I think that we really need to engage the members, training, what means be a BPW member. So in the future, we can count with the leaders with a full knowledge about the organization and what it means to stand for a position and not find out after they get it. And I think that this is very important for us, this kind of a structure in each club, in each federation. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Yasmin, and thanks again, Susan. Angela, would you like to jump in? I was going to call on you next anyway.
Thank you. Thank you, Anne, and thank you again, echoing to Anne and Yasmin for the series, and also to our wonderful presenters, you know, a little bit biased with our New Zealand sisters and my wonderful and beautiful friend Astrid presenting tonight. At the just in reference to just some of the things for the program for Australia, a very good point, Yasmin, and this is something that I joined BPW Australia in 2012, and my journey went from being an active member to leading a club to then being bold and supported by the women around me to be on the national executive. And I attribute all my learnings and my growth and development to being able to be supported and to look at these activities to challenge me. At International Congress, I was able to take the floor a couple of times and ask questions. I have been invited to be, as a result of my depth of knowledge in certain areas of my field professionally, I've been invited to be on advisory groups at national levels. And I would attribute that all to the growth and development that BPW has given me. Some of the questions, you know, to challenge yourself just at bronze level is to research BPW. Absolutely, you're correct, Yasmin, about, you know, the values. You know, things, I'll give you an example is, you know, start researching BPW, you know, who is Lena Madison Phillips, what is the purpose of the International Candlelight Ceremony, what is our relationship with UN and CSW, you know, investigate, research our past presidents, what they achieved, what they did, and look into what resolutions BPW Australia and BPW International currently have in terms of our policy position. So that's just an example of a snippet of, you know, that deeper understanding of the organisation. I'll just take advantage of a few minutes of your time. Thank you for indulging me to share that, Anne and Yasmin.
Thanks, Angela. Okay, I don't have anybody in the queue at the moment, though we still have more time for your questions and comments. But I want to throw something out there to either our two speakers, our two relevant Federation presidents, or Angela or Susan or anybody else who wants to contribute about the adaptation. So we've talked a lot about having it really be fairly standardized. It's a program, not multiple programs, but also that it needs to be adapted in some ways according to individual federations, their countries' needs or requirements, and their own culture. Does anybody want to speak to how we might be looking at adapting that? And that might include the ones in Germany who have also adapted this to suit their needs. Anyone? Oh, radio silence. That might be the most difficult part. Jacqueline.
Thanks. And given that both Australia and New Zealand have reviewed the program as we've gone through, some of it may be around the languaging that's actually used. I think there's possibly room in there for some consistency of the structural steps that we go through, but some of the changes that we've made in Australia have been around recognising changes to the way meetings are held. So for example, we had questions as to whether attending another club's meeting by Zoom as a presenter would meet the requirements of presenting in a club meeting, and quite clearly it does, but it wasn't available at the time when the program was first started. So we've changed some of that language. We've also taken advantage of being able to build state, national and international conferencing into the structure of how to get involved. So it might be something as simple as looking at the two additions that New Zealand has made with their 5 segments and taking that into account with Australia's original ones and making certain that the languaging works in for example, German. So again, I will come back to you, Anne, and look at that German version because I think we may learn from it. But we also may find that if it's presented at the training committee, we could ask for some objective viewpoints as to whether we can create a core 6 steps, for example, in each that then add on another 6 that make it more appropriate for each country. Just a thought process that might help.
Okay, great. And maybe even developing some basic guidelines for the adaptation process. Each person or people or group know their own culture best, but maybe helping them think about the specific areas that you think might need to be adapted based on culture, based on local needs. I think that might be a tricky area. Okay, Chantal.
Hello, everybody. I'm coming to you from Ontario, Canada, and I spent 28 years in the military where a lot of my career was in training and development, and I've been a veteran for 8.5 years, almost 9 years, and I do a lot of training and development now. So what I want to say as a member of BPW since 2007, part of our strength is our structure, but part of what's holding us back in some parts of the world, and particularly in Canada, from my perspective, is that we become too structured. And if we're tied too tightly to the structure, then we limit our chances for innovation. So I like what was just said, where we could provide a framework and a guideline, and here's 3 models that have been adapted to different countries and different cultures. Here's some guidance on how you can innovate and make that program work for your country. I think that's a better way than by trying to create one model that must be used internationally. So that's just my 2 cents, and I see a lot of nodding heads. Let's give some guidance and give some examples, and then not just allow, encourage people in their countries and regions to innovate and adopt this system as their own and share their models back up to international so that others can be inspired by what those countries have done. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Chantal. And in our chat, because she can't actually speak at the moment, Otoha from Tokyo has added some comments that they've just started a diversity education program in BPW Japan. So you might want to take a look at that. So anyone else want to add any questions or comments this evening? We have room for 1 or 2 more. Vicky Mee, you're up next.
Okay, so I just wanted to add, when we think that the key thing behind the BPW New Zealand refreshment was about making sure that it was also useful in career and business development. Yes, it was to enhance your understanding of BPW as an organisation, but there was something very definitely in there that particularly younger women could see as helpful in their career development. So that was a key part of it. And because I'm so much into advocacy, one of the key things too that differs between countries is how you advocate on behalf of women in your country. And so that changes, but certainly in New Zealand, like at gold level, you actually go and you do a submission, an oral one, standing in front of a group of members of parliament so that you're advocating for positions on women. So all these things change, but they're all part of our growth. They're all part of women working together to better the position of women globally. So it's really good.
Okay, thanks, Vicki. I usually think about muting myself as the speaker is wrapping up their thoughts, and I have to unmute anyway. Sorry about that. Okay, so we've got Astrid. Are you in the? You've just popped up to the. Oh yes, I see now your raised hand. So Astrid, jump on in.
Yeah, I just want to finish up from obviously Australia and just say, when I joined in 2005. I obviously said I was really quiet. I never thought I would ever be on a national board. But I started in Caboolture and then I've grown and started a new club in North Lakes. I never thought I could do those things. But to me, the personal and professional development that I got helped me be who I am today. I never thought I'd be a president of a club, yet I've been president of Caboolture and then I was president of North Lakes. It's about the growth and the mentoring that it's really passionate about being where I am. And I actually personally feel that it's actually helped my business grow and to the nth degree right now. And it's because of the people I've connected with. And so it's totally worth adapting to your country, and we're all there to help you and support you. Thank you.
Thanks, Astrid. And Vicki, to go back to what you were saying, I was thinking advocacy might be one of the key areas that would need to be adapted for each country, because what works in one country certainly isn't the approach in another. So very much so. Astrid, you were mentioning as New Zealand has really built into their program a lot as well, the personal aspect. And it's a byproduct of the whole program anyway, but to have some focus on professional and personal development in there is really nice too. Yasmin, you were waiting to speak again?
It's just a commercial time. Just to let you know that we have the YouTube channel with, I think now we have 45 webinars that you can use in your clubs, also as a training, because we have a lot of information about BPW and what means the regional coordinator, or about constitution, about the history of BPW. So it's a lot of webinars that you can use as training for your members. So please visit the YouTube channel. It's in the web page or in the Facebook page. I don't know if you can put here, Anne. And I don't know if Anne Wood is here. She also lead the training for BPW members. I don't know if she wants to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, thank you, Yasmin, for the invitation. And it was actually, it's nice to get a promo from you since you did join us. And it does relate to the personal and professional development. I think Julia Clausen also is here, but I saw her name. But basically, it's something that was developed by the Task Force for Leadership and Lifelong Learning of BPW, and it's very interactive small group working on your professional and personal development. So we are also, you can also find us in the newsletter, the international newsletter. And we also have, I can put on the Weebly site that we have to find out our next session. It's over 3 Friday afternoons online, will be in November. So any of you wanting more information, I'd be glad to provide it.
Okay, thanks, Anne. Christine, you're up next.
I'm not actually. Carmen's hand didn't stay up and she just had something to say.
Okay, Carmen.
Huh. No, I was just following on from what Vicky was saying about New Zealand, and the reason we sort of how we use the 5 pillars, and we decided to put business in there because obviously we are business and professional women. And within business, what we've actually done is we've done the research, and one of the tasks is to get a certificate in business from a tertiary education provider in New Zealand. And there are many of them there's several in New Zealand that you can actually do it for free. So it's kind of, it is a bit scary, but we felt that it was a really good, just that gentle little push in giving our members a bit of encouragement and showing them that it can be done, and it can be done cost effectively. So I think that's really, and it's basically through the 3 stages. Bronze, you do 1 paper. Silver, you do another. Gold, you finish it off, and and then let us know so we can all celebrate with you. The other thing we did in business is we've actually said, start your own business. That's gold level, but from bronze, we start off saying, do a business plan. Think about just even starting a stall at your local markets and go from there. So that was just following on from what Vicky was saying, and it's something that is very specific to New Zealand because it is our education providers, but we really wanted to give our members that opportunity and that support to know that they could go for it and do it.
Okay, thanks for adding that, Carmen. We have come to the conclusion of our hour. So, and for some of you, it's in the wee hours now, so we certainly want to let you go. So just as a follow-up on a couple of things here, this will be on our YouTube channel within 24 hours, generally anyway, unless we have any hiccups. So it should be there by around this time tomorrow, if not before. We also announced that on our Facebook page, so you can find the link there as well. If you just search for leadership in BPW, it's the first thing that will pop up, and that's better than a generic channel ID. So I would suggest finding it that way. And we want to really thank both of our speakers, Astrid and Carmen, both of our federation presidents from these relevant federations for this program. That would be Jacqueline and Christine. Always thanks to my co-facilitator, since I get the task of wrap up. I must also mention Dr. Yasmin Darwich again. And to each and every one of you for your wonderful contributions to this webinar. So we appreciate you being in the room. We hope that you'll join us again next month, same time, same date, 2nd Wednesday of the month. Tell all your friends in BPW and do share the link for this video with them. And we hope that this program can be taken further and maybe throughout all of BPW at some point soon. Bye for now.